I was walking home just now from the gym, and this is divinely inspired. So, in this video, I'm going to explain to you why you're not able to meet your wellness goal, whether it's improving an area, a health marker, whether it is improving a mental or spiritual marker, or a body fat reduction, muscle mass gain, like body recomposition goal. I'm going to tell you why you're not able to, and then how to fix it in just this video. Okay. So in psychology, there is something called, y'all, this is my house. There's something that's called the law of sustainment. Okay, so we're about to talk about some laws. All right, and unless you've been living under a rock, the whole trend right now across social media and everything that you're reading and seeing is all about identity, whether it is your business or just your self identity. It's your identity. So the law of sustainment is you're not going to sustain anything that you can't identify with, that you don't hold as your identity. So if you look behind me, my house, and if you were to come on in and I were to scan around my house, you see that my space is, it looks like an art museum, and Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, pretty much any bohemian just kind of threw up in my space because I love art. That I'm an art lover. I am rather bohemian. So that is how I identify. The other day, somebody asked, they wanted to give me some cobbler that they had made. And I had to say no because of two things. One, I am vegan and it wasn't made. It was not vegan cobbler. So that's not my identity. So I couldn't even entertain the thought of eating that because that's just not who I am. The other thing is, I just don't take food from people that I don't know because you just don't be knowing. So I am the type of person that I don't allow just any old type of energy to come into my space. That's how I identify. That's me. If somebody were to offer me a cigarette, or hey, do you have a cigarette? No, I'm a non-smoker. You just don't even think, oh, let me wibble wobble. You just don't. I just don't smoke. So that's my identity. Now, why am I at the end of the street? So, well, at the edge of my driveway. So I'm not going to show you the houses, but I've been telling this story here lately. So on my street right here, literally on that end, and on, oh, you can see it, sorry, on that house right there, that end, there's two houses that are being worked on. Y'all, that one right there has been being worked on ever since I moved here about 18 months ago. Now, the one at the other end of the street, not that, but at the other end of the street, that one's being worked on just for a few months. Now, I absolutely love I don't know if it's going to be a business or a house. I'm excited to see. But the one that they're working on that end of the street, y'all, they are almost always there. If they're not, it's because it's like their regular day off, or like today it's raining. So they really can't do too much work. And you know what? Even if it is inclement weather, I have seen them there doing something, even if it's only for a few hours. So every day, consistently, for weeks and months on end, the workers, they have received all types of deliveries. Let me see if I can sit down and set you down without causing commotion, too much commotion. So every day, well, with consistency, there has been incredible quality supplies delivered. The workers, I can tell, are extremely skilled because this isn't just any old house that's being put up. This is nice. Y'all, this is real nice. Oh my gosh, every day I go by there and I am just mesmerized with how ornate everything is. Just the brickwork. They didn't just lay the bricks all any kind of way. Or just the straight boring. No, they got patterns and stuff, even on the outside, on a wall that pretty much nobody's really going to see. Patterns, columns, and I have never seen doors like this. The doors on this thing, the doors, Oh, it looks like something that Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings would have carved himself, or the was it dwarves? The dwarves would have carved themselves. They're just beautiful, and I can tell that they're about to put a big old fireplace on the front porch. Oh, and they've got all these beautiful columns, and then the back deck is going to be amazing. And today I saw that they installed windows, so quality, quality, quality. Now, y'all, the house on the end of the street, I don't know what's going on down there, and I just pray for them. Thoughts and prayers, because it actually started off as just this cute little. It reminds me of like the Victorian painted ladies. Those houses, you may, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you may want to look it up. Just absolutely precious, and also reminds me of something that Betty Davis herself would have like filmed a movie in or something. It was just precious. Well, I don't know who bought it, and I don't want to disrespect them because obviously they like what they like, and I don't want to harsh anybody's mellow, but they've taken this thing, and it's like a never-ending project. Every time I turn around, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and big and more boring, more plain. It just looks like they went shopping at Home Depot and said, "Give me what's ever on sale." And y'all, sometimes you got to do what you have to do. But this kind of house in the neighborhood that this is, and the property, the amount of property that they have, I would have expected more. I would have expected better. And y'all, I hardly ever see them. Hardly ever see them. And then the supplies that they drop off, they'll sit out there in the rain for weeks at a time. And then there's some days you go by there, there's nothing, it's nothing. So that's us on our wellness journey. You'll say that you want something. You'll say, "This is the identity that I want. I want, where this house down here, I want these goals, these things." Okay. And then you lay out the plan, you get a plan laid out for you, and then you turn out to be the house at the other end of the street where you're just half-assing your effort because you haven't truly locked in. You were never really clear on your identity, and you were never locked in. Okay. You are not really ready to pay the price for the identity. Okay. So what do you do now? What do you do now? Well, you reevaluate what it is you truly want and what it is you're willing to do. Okay? Reevaluate. So, if you're fine with where you are now, the life that you're living, if that's all hunky-dory and you're happy, you're the house at the end. That's how you identify. That is your identity. You roll with, that's how you roll, baby. You just keep doing you. But you're not allowed to complain and say that you want something else. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. The law of sustainment. You're going to sustain yourself right down there. And there's no judgments either way. And to be really honest with you, most people don't care. Most people don't care. If you're lucky, maybe your mama, daddy, your best BFF, maybe somebody will have a conversation with you. And it actually doesn't have to be all bad. They could be perfectly happy with that house down there. They're like, "Yes, I'm happy with all the decisions that I've made right here. I'm happy as a pig in slop." You do you, boo. That is fine. But again, you don't get to complain or want something different. Okay? Stick with your identity. Now, the house that's down here at the end, they're working their plan. I actually see them out there with their plan. They've got these like sawhorses, and I'll see people in there with like plans laid out, and I just think that's so cool. I think architects are just amazing, and then just like the engineers and stuff, I think y'all are fabulous. And they're working their plan. They're working their plan because that's how they identify. Okay, that's how they identify. They're willing to show up each day and put in consistent work because that's the identity that they're building. Okay, they've locked in. They know their goal. They know what they're going for. Now, the other day I told this story to someone and I said, "Well, what if there's a house in the middle?" Well, there isn't a house in the middle. It's just an open field. But let's say there was a house directly across from me, right in the middle. and they're like, I don't really want to lose any body fat. I don't really want, there's not too much in my life that I need to tweak. There's maybe like a couple of things I'd like to adjust a little bit. I don't really need significant change. Not really trying to gain some muscle mass. My bone density is good. Like, I'm good. I could just use, just a little upgrade here and there. Maybe like put some new shutters on my house. Maybe like do a little landscaping or lawn work. We're good. Okay, that's your identity. And nothing is wrong with just wanting some lifestyle upgrades. You don't have to be an athlete, okay? And you've determined that you're not going to be the house at the other end where they just doing whatever the heck they want to do and having those consequences, whatever. You're like, I'm happy with a lifestyle wellness upgrade a little bit. And I just want to stick right here. Well, that is your identity. So until you're really clear with your identity and you're locked in on doing the work on the plan, you won't succeed. So that's how you fix it. You've got to get really clear on the identity, and are you willing to pay the price? You can't get the paycheck unless you do the work. Are you willing to pay the price for what it costs to become that? And until you make that up in your head, you will never, ever succeed at the house at the street or in the middle. You will always be that house at the end of my street. You're welcome. And if you hate me, I'm glad, actually. All right, loves, do with that information what you will. I am none of those houses. I'm none of those houses. I'm too busy building my own for myself.